welcome to the fourth episode of Biomimicry Ecotone. My name is Gametle Swanda.
My name is Hugo Araujo. Welcome to the show, Claire. Can you please introduce yourself?
I'm Claire Yanish from Biomimicry South Africa and learned Biomimicry, the online courses.
What brought you to biomimicry?
I started in chemical engineering. I just hit that moment where I wanted to leave it. And then I went on a journey to say, instead of leaving it, could I transform it? So I did a master's degree in chemical engineering in the field of industrial ecology. At the end of 10 years of working across Africa, attempting to reduce this mess in some of the most hazardous industries, I realized we had to have a radical rethink of how we make things. And someone introduced me to biomimicry in 2007. I just knew I had to do it, even though I was pretty certain I'd have to sell a kidney in order to afford it. When I finished the first cohort, I was very lucky to be asked to help facilitate the second cohort. And Biomimicry South Africa is now over a decade.
We always refer to the Amazons as the lungs of the planet.
Yeah, well, forest ecosystems are my absolute favorite. And the forest ecosystems have repeated patterns that I love. I actually started to work very strongly in forming a group called Forest Therapy Africa.
On the organization, on your website, can you tell us a little bit more about it, please?
If anyone's interested to go into our website, it's called Biomimicry SA. So the SA is for South Africa. It's basically about helping people connect to our network and helping people learn biomimicry through various ways, and then helping people do biomimicry. Most recently, we've been establishing centers for regenerative living where people can come and actually see biomimicry in action. We could do this across the world. We have an online course called Learn Biomimicry. It's a mixture of 3 courses. It looks straight away at the fourth industrial revolution and all these exponential technologies coming in, how most of them are biomimicry. The second module is the life's principles. The third module is, now that you know what biomimicry is and why we're doing it, what would the future look like if we designed it to be biomimicry at a systems level?
What else do you have?
Yeah. Together with my sister and my mother, we started a school for children, very much based on curiosity-based learning, no real curriculum, just creating the conditions conducive to learning, I suppose. We're learning wetlands, they're in the wetland, in their swimming suits, and they're covered in mud, and they're smelling the smells, and they're touching it. They're not just, sitting in a classroom. They do everything from learning how the body works and how the forest works and how we could design a world that works like that too. Subjects, they don't learn individual subjects. They learn project-based learning and how all the things connect together. My son goes there. The rest of our projects are quite deeply complex. Looking at the Green Wave projects on 3D ocean farming. Gamma was actually involved in some of these projects. We did
Looks like Langren.
The Langren project is quite famous. It's called Genius of Space project. I brought John Todd to South Africa, and I was very inspired by his work in China, where he managed to take real problematic sewage waste that was running down canals into the ocean and turn those into living eco-machines, which are quite extraordinary. And we have a lot of informal settlements in South Africa where there's a heck of a lot of issues with wastewater. To get government involved to support us in actually doing one of his projects there. Formal settlement has no formal infrastructure. So to design plants and modular and very adaptable and flexible infrastructure was quite an exciting project. Johnny from Isidima, who was the local engineer, he's since gone to Kenya and to other countries to apply the same thinking there.
Okay, let's dig deeper. Let's go down.
This project was really about the idea of, could we apply ecological performance standards to cities? The ones we focused on was water, and we looked at how the local ecosystem manages water, how they could work with the existing green space as actual ecological infrastructure to manage the stormwater. An agreement, they all got new standards, new stormwater guidelines.
How small have you gone from a big city?
I did a 3-day training at a local university with the nanotechnology department on how nature, excels at nanotechnology, and down to products. How do you design a toilet, that flushes less water? So it's any scale you can possibly imagine.
If you have found something in biomimicry, in nature, that is revolutionizing or evolving the way that we look into energy.
Every single moment in nature is a potential, and there's a potential difference that you could either capture or convert into energy. How energy is distributed in the natural world, it's not centralized in any way. And the more centralized it is, it's more efficient to manage, but it's so much less efficient in how you can capture energy from the sun. How does nature clean water? And it's freely available for anyone. Just a package of all the ways that nature cleans water available to any researchers in the world.
Your own reflections on the pandemic, any insights maybe we can get from Biomimicry?
As a chemical engineer, as a water treatment specialist, and as a systems thinker, the thought of spraying that much sanitizer all over every surface and washing it off continuously, rushing into our wastewater treatment works and then into our water systems, the impact at a systemic level of that amount of materials affects me hugely. The more we've looked into how nature manages disease and how nature manages things, it tends to actually not kill things. It tends to actually work in other innovative strategies. Every body has got a different way of responding depending on what state and what context they're in. And you cannot just apply the same way of thinking across the board to everybody. That's just centralized thinking. It doesn't make sense. How could we actually support the human immune system? How can we turn the question around, not how do we kill the pathogen, but how do we support the wisdom, the intelligence of our own immune system so that it can respond way more effectively? The kids that arrive at our school, yes, we take their temperature. Yes, they can wear a mask if they choose to. But we won't spray them with sanitizer. We'll spray them with probiotics and boost their immune system rather than deplete it. And we'll give them the opportunity to breathe fresh air and to play and to connect with the soil, which is rich with the microbiome that will help boost their immune system. I'm also a holistic health practitioner, and I believe in solving the problem at a systems level.
Ask a question to the wheels.
The bird has a different call for humans than the honey guide. So the intra and interspecies communication, I think that could really be applied to what you're talking about.
I'd love that.
We have this talk show every second Thursday of the month at 1800 hours Central European Time and 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time for those in the US.